Hey, how's it going? Kenny here, and welcome to another experiment video where this time round I've taken 72 of the best wonder kids in world football and I've put them at the 72 English clubs who start off in the non-league at the start of Football Manager 2023. So there's a lot of big names in the Vanarama National League North, the National League South and the Vanarama National League at the start of this universe. As you can see in the National League, got the likes of Nico Williams, Giovanni Reina, Shelderup, Nonto as well, Luca Netz. And in the likes of National League North, we've got Jude Bellingham, we've got Musiala. We've also got Joby Bellingham, or Joe Bellingham. I never know how to pronounce his first name. He's one of the best wonder kids on the Foot Manager as well. And he's at one of the teams. Also Camavinga, Musiala, Ansu Fati, Pino, Pedri, Gavi, Elliott, the list goes on. Basically, the aim of this is to see, will any of these players take their club to glory? It's going to be tricky, though, because all the clubs have got a new wonder kid, but I've sorted them out due to the perceived best of the wonder kids. I've put them at the worst clubs in the non-league. So, for example, Pedri is sitting at Cheshunt, and Jude Bellingham is sitting at Chester, who is one of the worst teams in the Vanarama National League North as well, according to the media predictions. So it's interesting to see what will happen here in this experiment video. Going to be tricky because, as I said, Pedri, Bellingham, Gavi as well. They're perceived one of the worst teams in the league. As you can see here, Cheshunt still predicted to finish 21st in the league, even with Pedri in their squad. Can a team go so far with just one player? And also, you may be wondering how they stay at the clubs for this 20-year experiment. Well, that is because I put them on a 20-year contract, and also I've put in a future transfer for every single one of the players that will prevent them leaving the club for any other team. Because I'm pretty sure a team will come in for a bid and take them away from these non-league clubs. Also, I haven't adjusted any of the wages as well, so interesting to see what happened there. Cheshunt paying 150k a week for Pedri. How will that work out? I have no idea. But will any of these players take their club to the Premier League or to the Championship to say? Obviously, 8 of these clubs with these wonder kids will have to get relegated from the game because I've only got the 6 leagues in the simulation here. So 8 of the teams have to get relegated from the leagues here, and when they'll come back to the National League North or South is anyone's guess, to be honest. I think it's just pretty much randomised. So yeah, interesting to see what will happen. But anyway, in this video, I'm going forward 20 years in the future to see if any of these players can get their club to the promised land, to the Premier League or not. First of all, though, let's jump forward to 5 seasons in the future and let's see what happens. Well, 5 seasons into the future here, and unsurprisingly, there's none of the clubs sitting in the Premier League at the moment. Also, there's no clubs in the Championship. There are, however, 3 teams who are sitting in League One. That is Fylde, Southend, and Notts County. Well, Fylde actually started off in the Vanarama National League North, so they're doing the best of any of the 3 clubs here. They've actually got 3 promotions in 5 seasons, so they're actually doing really, really well. Their wonder kid they've got at the club is Kaiki, who actually starts off at Almeria at the start of the game. Doesn't say so in his history, though. It says he starts off at Santos, but he does transfer to Almeria, but for some reason they've ignored it here on the in the game here. He's gone to Fylde, and he's played quite a crucial role in their 3 successive promotions. Well, not 3 successive promotions, but 3 promotions in 5 seasons. As you can see here, he's played lots of games. He's got quite a decent average rating in most of his seasons. Nothing sensational, though. You expect a little bit better from a player of his standard. Fylde are going really well, sitting up in League One. Also, Southend and Notts County are as well. Notts County's wonder kid is Ulos Kabic, who actually starts off at Vojvodina. And again, he's played a crucial role in Notts County's rise to League One. Not as great as Fylde, of course. Notts County have been promoted in real life to League 2, finishing 2nd behind Wrexham, and with quite a big points tally as well. So not as impressive, Notts County being League 1. I think that's definitely a reasonable position they'll be in 5 seasons' time, to be honest. They're obviously in League 2 now, so 5 seasons to get to League 1 doesn't sound out the question, does it? So not as impressive there from Kabic's team, and also he hasn't got a rating above 6.9 in the series yet. So both the players haven't done particularly that well for the 2 clubs. And the other team who are up in League 1 is Southend as well, whose wonder kid is Shelderup, I believe. It is Shelderup. who of course starts off at Benfica in game. As you can see here, in the last 3 seasons, he hasn't played a game for Southend, and that is because a lot of the players failed to obtain a work permit after 2 seasons. I don't know quite what happened, to be honest, but of course, being as relatively young players playing in such a poor league in England, they lost the work permit. A lot of the players, a lot of the lower players, you'd say, likes of Pedri, Bellingham, etc., didn't lose their work permit. So I had to adjust that after the 5 seasons, because I went on holiday for the first 5 seasons of the simulation. But it doesn't seem to have affected Southend too much. With or without Shelderup, they've done pretty well without him. He's got a work permit now, so hopefully he'll feature in a lot more games. So that was a little bit of a boo-boo in terms of the experiment, but I didn't really plan for that, to be honest. Are there any teams sitting in League 2 who started off? Barrow, did Barrow start off in League 2 as it is? I think they do, actually. Yeah, no player in Barrow. Chesterfield was certainly one of the teams. They have Namdi Collins as their wonder kid. Also, Woking are sitting in League 2 as well, with Kessler Hayden as their wonder kid. And Wrexham are in League 2. Still in League 2, Wrexham. Bit surprising, isn't it? And their wonder kid is Joe Scally, who plays for Gladbach in real life. So, not too many risers in the first 5 seasons here. By far, the best club have been filed. And their wonder kid is, of course, Kaiki. Did he make too much of a difference to the team? I'm sure he made some sort of difference to the team. Where are the big boys, though? That's what I want to know. Where are the big boys? Obviously, you see here the top wonder kids in the list here are, all very familiar names. If you don't know who these players are, then you've been living under a rock. That is for sure. The likes of Pedri, Musiala, Bellingham, Camavinga, Gavi, Fati, etc. Where is Pedri? He still plays with Cheshunt, obviously. Cheshunt are no longer in the top 6 leagues. Even with Pedri in their team, they managed to get relegated. And the season they got relegated, they got 19 goals and 12 assists for the club in that season. And they still got relegated with Pedri in the team. So that is kind of disgraceful. They had 2 seasons Ranera South. He's still doing the business, Pedri, as you'd expect in the 7th tier of English football. But they haven't returned to the top 6 leagues, which is really disappointing. Musiala as well. He's playing for Kettering. Okay, Kettering have been relegated as well. They got relegated in the first season with Musiala in the team. With 24 goals and 13 assists, they still got relegated. The even more disappointing thing is they managed to get back through the randomisation and they got relegated again. They got relegated again with Musiala in the team. So what can we say about this? Would this actually happen if they had such a good player in their team? Would they get relegated from the Ranera North? I have no idea. No idea, to be honest with you. Jude Bellingham as well. He's sitting at Chester. They haven't been relegated. Well, they have been relegated because they got promoted in the first season, which looked pretty good. 18 goals and 17 assists from Bellingham in midfield. 19 player of the matches as well. They got promoted in that season to the Ranera National, but then they got relegated back to the Ranera North, where Bellingham is still playing his football down in the 6th tier of English football. Let's check out Camavinga as well. He plays for Farsley Celtic. Another one who've been relegated in the first season. So it's not making much difference to the clubs, are they? You would have thought. Because obviously there's a big standard between a lot of the wonder kids. With Camavinga in your team, how can you get relegated? With Pedri in your team, how can you get relegated? No one knows. Gavi as well, he's playing for Braintree. Another one who've been relegated. 3 seasons deep, they've been relegated as well. Ansu Fati, he's playing for Blythe Spartans. They also have been relegated. He's back in the Ranera North these days. I don't know what happened with him, by the way, because he actually had a work permit because he's actually played a couple of games for Blythe down in the 7th tier. Maybe he got a serious injury. Well, he didn't really get any serious injuries. He just refused to play. He's refusing to play for Blythe Spartans and Ansu Fati, which is kind of disgraceful. They pay his wages. They pay him 200k a week in the 7th tier of English football, and he still can't play for the shirt. So that was kind of disgusting from him. But yeah, I'm quite surprised by this, to be honest. Even though they're perceived to be the worst teams in the 6th tier, they still can't stay in the league or get promoted with these big players. Yeah, very surprising. The best team of the experiment so far is, of course, AFC Fylde. They've got up 3 divisions, sitting in League 1, and their wonder kid is Kaiki. Not saying that he's made that much of a difference. He's made a difference, hasn't he? He's made a difference being centre back for Fylde. Of course he has, but his average rating is not immense. So the ones who seem to be doing a great average rating just don't seem to be taking their team anywhere, which is very surprising. I don't know. Well, I'm pretty sure the wage for the players must be making some sort of effect to the team. Maybe I should have adjusted the wage at the start of the experiment, but Interesting to see how they'll do. Every team's in the same boat pretty much. Obviously, different wages for different players, but they've all got these big players at the club. But anyway, let's go forward to 10 seasons and let's see what changes. Before we get started with the results, 10 seasons deep, guys, please remember that if you do like this video, hit that like button for me. It's very, very important for the video's success. So if you're still watching at this point, then surely you must like the video. So do me a massive favour and please hit that like button for me. And also, if you're new around here and you want to see more from me, then do hit that subscribe button as well. It'd really help me out. I'd much appreciate as well. Well, unfortunately, 10 seasons deep, no team has made it to the Premier League. But one team has made it to the Championship, though, and that is Southend. And I do know who their wonder kid is. That is Shelderup, who is now the vice-captain. He lost his work permit status for a couple of seasons. Did he get it back and did he keep it? He did. I got it right. I know he got it back because I put it back for him. I edited it in. And yeah, he's doing a good job for Southend. They actually got promoted to the Championship before this. They got relegated, but then bounced straight back up. Is he getting caps for Norway? He is getting caps for Norway. He's got 47 caps for Norway. Of course, the players as well, having the poor training facilities and not playing in a good league, of course, they will not develop as well as they should do at a bigger club, which they should do, which they should be at, sorry. So Shelderup, he's not looking amazing, but for Southend in the Championship, he's a very, very good player, put it that much. But he would look a hell of a lot better with a bigger club. But he's still doing the business for Southend. They're doing well themselves. He's not doing amazing, though, to be fair. He hasn't done anything too sensational. But he's certainly chipping in and doing the best he can. Southend are sitting up in the Championship. What about Fylde? Are they still in League One? Fylde still are in League One. They're still in League One, Fylde. Any other teams in League One? So they're definitely progressed, that is for sure. Fylde. They went up from the 6th tier to the 3rd tier. I don't know what sort of... if they've gone up and down in the leagues. They got up. They did get relegated. They're actually in League 2 for a while. They've been promoted again. But they have stabilised themselves as the 3rd or 4th division teams. That's nice. Any other teams in here in League 1? Of course, the Fylde Wonderkid is Kaiki, of course. And he's played a lot of games for Fylde. He probably will go down as a Fylde legend, to be honest. Well, a lot of them go down as legends. They'll be there for 20 years, won't they? So, yeah, Kaiki is doing the business for Fylde. He did really well last season. 10 assists from centre-back. Bit strange. 9 player matches as well with a 7.33 average rating. So he's doing really well for Fylde. They're in League 1 still. Also, bizarrely, South Shields are sitting in League 1. And they did not feature in the experiment. They start off in the 7th tier. So South Shields, despite all the other clubs around them having this amazing wonder kid, South Shields are just not concerned about that. Yeah, South Shields have had 4 promotions in the last 10 seasons. So they don't need a wonder kid. They do absolutely fine without one. They're doing all right. Any other teams in League 1 here? Woking, Wrexham and York as well, all in League 1. Woking, who is their wonder kid? Kessler Hayden, that is it. He's doing all right for Woking, I guess. They've played in League 1 for quite a while now, so they've stabilised their position. Kessler Hayden, he's been pretty much ever-present for Woking. Over 40 games in every single season. So already he's played over 400 league games for Woking in 10 seasons. That's pretty crazy. Wrexham still in League 1 as well. A bit surprised about that. You know, with Ryan Reynolds as the owner, all this massive hype about Wrexham, they can't get above League 1. Or did they get above League 1? They haven't got above League 1 yet, but they look like they're stabilised themselves as a bit of a promotion-pushing team, a playoff-pushing team, finishing 8th last season. So who knows where they'll be at the end of the experiment, but they're not doing as well as I hoped they would. Joe Scally is their wonder kid. He's been ever-present as well. Certainly made a difference to their team. And York are the 4th team in League 1. And who is their wonder kid? Duranville is their wonder kid. He lost his work permit status as well for a bit. He came back though and they've done quite well. They've gone from the Valorant National to League 2 to now League 1. So they're doing alright, York. Duranville, he's not doing too much though, is he? Let's be honest. Not doing too much. Only 7 goals and 5 assists last season. So not been amazing he has. But yeah, only 4 teams sitting in League 1. And 1, of course, sitting in the Championship, which is Southend, of course. So Fylde have done really well. They obviously start off in the National League North. The other 4 teams in the top 3 divisions all start off in the Valorant National League, so not as impressive. But Southend, sitting up in the Championship, not the most amazing thing I've seen in the world, though. So, because I've seen Southend in the Championship in my lifetime as well, not too long ago. So not the most craziest of things I've seen. But Shelderup is doing pretty well for them. In League 2... got Chesterfield in League 2, Eastleigh as well. Hemel Hempstead, they've risen up quite nicely. Hemel Hempstead, who's their wonder kid? Endrick. Endrick is the wonder kid for Hemel Hempstead. And he's doing the business. Endrick is doing because Endrick starts off as the the highest rated Wonderkid in the game, of course, and Hemel Hempstead were actually the worst team in the top 6 divisions, according to the season preview at least, and he kept them up in the league. 22 goals and 7 assists at the age of 16. He then got 28 goals and 7 assists as well. He also lost his work permit for a season, but overall he's done pretty well for Hemel Hempstead. They're sitting up in League 2 now, a stabilised League 2 team, so they're slowly rising, Hemel Hempstead. How good will they become though? Endrick as well, 25 years of age. Again, he'll look a lot better than this in-game, but still, for a League 2 player, I think it's safe to say he's one of the better players in League 2. And he's doing quite well. He's doing quite well. Also got Notts County still in League 2 as well. Other than that, there's not other teams really. How are the big boys doing? Let's check out the big boys. Pedri, did you get back in the top 6 tiers? Or are you rotting out of the game completely? Look how good he looks as well, Pedri. He's an amazing player, isn't he? Unfortunately, the Spanish national team aren't really looking at the 7th tier in English football. So he's not really gaining any more caps, which is not too surprising. Look at his record. How are they not getting promoted? How are they not getting promoted? Look at that. He's played exactly 34 games in the last 8 seasons in every single season. So that's a little bit bizarre, but also it's probably randomised. 17 goals, 19 assists, 17 and 16. But how was he not getting promoted with Cheshunt? I have no idea. How did they get relegated in the first place? No one knows. What about Musiala? Is he back? Nope. Musiala is still rotting down in the 7th tier as well. Bellingham, are you back with Chester? He came back. And then he went away again. So, yeah. Well, he was still here, wasn't he, in the 5 seasons? He just didn't get promoted with them. They actually got relegated, came back up again, and then relegated again. So, Chester, there are no hope for you. You have Jude Bellingham in your midfield, and you still can't even get into at least the 6th tier of English football. Absolutely atrocious. Camavinga as well. Nope. He made a stint back. He got back as well. He got back into the 6th tier to only get relegated again with Farsley Celtic. Gavi, are you back? No, Gavi is not back as well. So the big boys at their club are not doing too well. Obviously, falling out the top 6 tiers, it's difficult to get back because of the, must be just random in my opinion. But some of them will come back and they'll be relegated again. So yeah, pretty atrocious to tell you the truth. But as it stands, 10 seasons deep, the best Wonderkid at the moment is Shelderup. He is sitting in the championship with Southend, but also a mention needs to go to Kaiki and Fylde, still sitting in League 1. Anyway, let's get fast forward things to the end of the experiment. 20 seasons deep. Can any of these clubs make it to the Premier League? And that answer is no. There's none of these teams in the Premier League 20 seasons deep. Did any of the teams reach the Premier League though? Let's go back through the seasons. Let's have a look. No, unfortunately not. Despite giving the all and non-league clubs a Wonderkid, none of those Wonderkids could take their club all the way to the Premier League. So I guess you can say that a one-man team doesn't exist anymore these days. So that's rather disappointing. Let's check out the Championship though. Are there any teams still in the Championship? Of course, Southend were still there after 10 seasons. I can't see them here now though. No, there's not. There's not even any of these teams. Of course, 20 seasons deep though, all the players are reaching the age of about 40 now, so I'm pretty sure they've declined quite rapidly now. So probably run out of time, to be honest, and they're obviously not the same players anymore. They're just pretty much running on fumes now. But I'd like to have thought one of the 72 might have made it to the Premier League. Southend made it to the Championship, we know that. There's no team in the Championship now. What about League 1? Well, Chesterfield is still sitting in League 1, and their Wonderkid is Namdi Collins, 39 years of age. As you can see, he's looking pretty darn terrible. Absolute filth. I don't know how could you use him at any level at this age? My word. 2 strength for a centre-back. 1 stamina as well. And also Collins is a very quick centre-back. And not anymore. He's looking pretty disastrous, to tell you the truth. He hasn't played in the last 3 seasons. And he hasn't really played a lot of football in the last 6 seasons. They got to the Championship, though. They got to the Championship, Chesterfield. As you can see here, they got to the Championship. So that's a second club who got to the Championship. Also in League 1, are there any other teams? Notts County are still in League 1. Their Wonderkid is Cabbage. He's still the vice-captain, Cabbage. Again, he hasn't featured much in the last 6 seasons or so. Not too surprising. But he played a hell of a lot of games for Notts County, Cabbage. Unfortunately, they never reached the Championship, which being one of the bigger teams in the experiment here, is a little bit disappointing, has to be said, by Notts County. Yeah, Cabbage is looking pretty awful as well. If you reach 39 years of age in FootballManager, you're just pretty much useless at that point, according to them anyway. Southend are in League One still with Shelderup as their wonder kid. Shelderup, I'm pretty sure he's looking pretty disastrous. Well, not as disastrous as some of the players. He may be useful at some levels. 110 caps for Norway he got as well. So Norway were not being judgmental in the leagues he was playing in. He was still playing lots of games for them. He obviously didn't reach the heights that he's meant to reach, but still he had a great stellar international career, so that's nice for him. And he played a hell of a lot of games for Southend as well. And they were an established championship team, so that is nice to see. Many seasons in the championship for Shelderup and Southend, so they did really, really well. Probably the best team of the experiment to date, to be honest, Southend. Wrexham are sitting in the League One still as well, and their wonder kid is Joe Scally, of course. And he played lots of games. They're another club who reached the championship. So a few teams have reached the championship, but it seems like no team reached the promised land of the Premier League. Well, no team did reach the promised land of the Premier League. I checked it out, and unfortunately none of them did. York as well, still sitting in League One. Their wonder kid is Duranville, who's lost his work permit again. Yeah, okay. He hasn't played for a long time, Duranville, so he lost his work permit, unfortunately. Not that he was doing too much for York anyway, to be honest. They didn't really need him. And interestingly, York, they went up to League One, went all the way back down to the Rama National, and without Duranville, they went back to League One again. And well, let's check out the big boys now, finally, after all this. Let's see how they got on. Well, as you can see by their current ability, no one's looking pretty good anymore due to the fact they're almost 40. Well, Jude Bellingham is 40. Did he get back with Chester, though? No, he did not. He never came back with Chester. They were just rotting in the 7th tier. He played a lot of games with Chester, though. Definitely the most successful ever player. And, yeah, he played a hell of a lot of games for them. Did he play any more games for England, Bellingham? No, of course not. 15 caps, no goals. Vidovic as well. He played for Yeovil. And, well, oh my word. Vidovic. What sort of record did he have at Yeovil? They didn't climb the leagues very much, Yeovil. Yeovil went down to the Vanarama South. They were a bit of a yo-yo club. But Vidovic did really well for them. Even at the ripe old age of about 37, he got 28 goals and 24 assists in the Vanarama South. Not too much to shout about because it is a 6th tier of English football. But yeah, he was very, very consistent for Yeovil. And unfortunately, they couldn't match his ambition, unfortunately, for Vidovic. Endrick as well, he lost his work permit again for many years, actually, unfortunately. He actually went up to League One, Hemel Hempstead, and then back all the way down to the Vanarama North, so that is disappointing. The work permits were a bit annoying for this experiment, but I don't think, looking at the players, it made too much difference, to be honest. Gavi at Braintree, did they ever get back? They did get back. They got back for a fair few seasons, actually, Braintree. Only to get relegated again, so that was disappointing. But they were back for a fair few seasons. Musiala as well, he's at the ripe old age of 40 now. Unfortunately, him and Kettering were rotting in the 7th tier of English football, maybe lower, who knows. Where's Pedri? Well, Pedri's physical is going to get much worse than what they are now. 1 agility, 1 pace, 1 stamina, and 1 strength. Yeah, I don't think he's playing football anymore, to be honest. Did he get back with Cheshunt? No, he didn't. So, yeah, some interesting results here in this experiment. It seems like, even if you put a big player at a very, very small club, unfortunately, they can't take him too many places. Obviously, it could have been different, though, if the work permits didn't run out. I don't think it made too much difference, though, to be honest, to the experiment video. But also, the wages may have made a big difference to the players they could sign at the club, of course. But all in all, even though I changed those things, I don't think too much would change, to be honest. And it looks like even if you give these teams this world beater player, due to their finances, due to the lack of reputation of the club, they don't really do much. Southend, Fylde, Chesterfield, they all did pretty well. Southend have turned out to be a consistent championship team, so that's great for them with Shelderup as their wonder kid. But other than that, no one else has really impressed too much. So that is the end of the video, guys. Please remember that if you liked the video, hit that like button for me. It's really important for the video success, as I said earlier. And also, if you want to see more videos like this from me, do hit that subscribe button as well. It's also really helped me out, and much appreciated. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you for the next one.